Megan, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, I could hear you. I'm just gonna give it. I normally give it until like my maybe like 5 or 10 after to
Okay.
get people to log in. If not, then we'll just if you want, we could start real quick and then like just record it.
Yeah, whatever. I
Sometimes
mean, it's
like
fine if I can definitely do it in like, 30 minutes or so. So,
yeah,
we can wait
just in
until.
case not a lot of people log in. Sometimes that happens.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Did you send it out
Yeah.
yesterday? Or when did you send
I
it out?
sent it out Tuesday actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I sent it out with enough time.
Okay.
Yep.
Uh, did I?
I think what I'll do is I'll mute it for now for a little bit,
Okay.
and then like maybe like five after we'll start. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Sounds good.
And then I'm gonna give you presenter control right now
Okay.
so that you can share your screen.
Okay.
Let me know if you get it. There you go. I can see it.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. So we'll just mute it until five after.
Okay. Sounds good.
Hello, Megan.
Hi.
Okay, so I see that there's about 3 people, including both of us. If you want, we can go ahead and start it. We'll do like a short one, and then we'll just
Okay.
continue the series later down the road. Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So do you want me to present you or you want to present yourself?
Um, whatever you prefer.
I'll
We
let you. You're awesome, so I'll let you.
okay.
All right, go ahead. I'm
So I'm
giving
on.
this.
Alrighty. Hi everybody. I am Megan with G Adventures. Thank you for those of you who signed on to learn about our product. A little bit about me. I live in San Francisco. I am your BDM, your rep for G. I always like to tell my agents that long before G hired me, I drank the Kool-Aid. I've been traveling with them for 15 years now. I'm about to have gone on 14 trips. I leave for Africa next week with G, and I've been to 60 plus countries with them. So I've really traveled the world, and a lot of it has been with G Adventures. So I really believe in this product. I'm a huge proponent for our style of trips, and I just really get excited to share it with agents. So the biggest thing about G is that we've been around for 28 years, almost 30 years, and we love changing people's lives. The gentleman holding the word lives is our founder and CEO, Bruce Poontip. He's Trinidadian and Chinese, raised in Jamaica and then Canada. So he's really been all around. And he saw the tourism industry as kind of an industry that was mostly just taking, and it really wasn't giving back. It didn't offer anything to the local communities. It just was, he really wanted to create an environment where people travel, but also supported the local economies. And it's the number one export of the 60 poorest countries on the planet, but no one seemed to want to emphasize that and really offer tourism as a tool to spread wealth and equality across the world. So his vision for G Adventures was to make amazing vacations that everybody loves going on. I can vouch that they're amazing, but also where the money from our travelers is staying in the local hands. So the biggest thing with G Adventures is on average only 5 cents of every tourism dollar ever stays in a country, and every single G Adventures trip is 65 cents to the dollar or more. Um, a really big difference with us is really that social programming. We run our own nonprofit organization called Planetera. It creates startups all over the world and builds these startups into our itineraries to instantly support the project. It's usually supporting women in need, kids at risk, and indigenous aboriginals who have kind of been haven't had the opportunity that a lot of other people in country have. An example of a Planetera project is we have one in Delhi, India called Women on Wheels. It takes women who have been in the sex trade in Nepal and India. It, of course, rescues them, gets them housing, trains them in English education, grooming education, gets them their chauffeur license. They obviously do driving practice. And after 6 months, they are now enrolled in Women on Wheels. And then the G Adventures arm solely uses Women on Wheels for all of our airport transfers and pickups. And we send over 100,000 travelers through India a year. So we have about 250 women in this program, and it has changed all of their lives because now they're completely self-sustaining in a very honorable job. So we have over 100 projects like that. It's really authentic to G Adventures. We're not just jumping on the giving back bandwagon. A lot of companies are doing that, but that is truly in the fabric and the foundation of who we are, is using travel as a force for good. And it's not volunteerism, it's just having the time of your life, but we are making sure that the funds are going into the right hands. A huge way we do that is because we keep it all local, but our groups are really small. When you think of a quote unquote tour company like Colette or Globus or Trafalgar, it's 50 people on a bus seeing the world through a window. We are the opposite of that. We're 10, 12 people. Only 12% of our travelers are American. So travelers from all English speaking countries, you'll be with South Africans and Irish and Norwegian and Kiwis. which is a really great component. But we're able to stop at a local fruit stand if, you tell when you have a guide with you the whole time, stop at a local fruit stand and have some local produce. Go into a local a breakfast place and get a croissant and Turkish coffee. It's not 50 people going to eat at Best Western and then Intercontinental and doing all of these Western brands. We're all using boutique, family owned, character driven boutique hotels, local suppliers, local operators. And a lot of the destinations we have offices, we have 30 offices around the world. So we also are the local operator. So keeping it local is the biggest thing, and because of our group size, it makes it very easy for us to eat at those secret restaurants and beautiful small B&Bs that only have 5 or 6 rooms. As I mentioned, the small groups, it's a really strong piece of it, so you don't feel like you're kind of being herded to each tourist destination. You have some anonymity and can really blend in and feel like you're really seeing a destination. We get off the beaten path. Again, don't want you to feel like you're just being herded, that you're really leaving. If you go to Iceland or you go to the French countryside or go to Costa Rica, that you really saw the country and you really experienced it. And then, of course, meeting the locals, it's such a highlight. We're not trying to keep the local culture from you. We're trying to have our travelers embrace it and really experience it firsthand. We also have the strictest animal welfare practices of any operator in the market. So we have a partnership with Miss Jane Goodall, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. We have a whole collection of trips that are just wildlife centric. So if someone's dream is to see the big five on a safari in Africa, or see the elephants in Thailand, or see the sloths in Costa Rica, this whole collection of trips will be perfect for them because it really just highlights the famous wildlife that's in the area. So the truth about G Adventures. How do you define adventure? This is not how we define adventure. I would never do this. We definitely don't define adventure as jumping off cliffs or shark diving or zip lining. We define adventure as cultural immersion, interaction with the environment. So it's not about physically demanding whatsoever. When we say adventure, it means maybe trying the local cuisine, maybe learning to learning to get henna in India, or learning to, learning about the architecture of Petra in Jordan. It's by no means, anyone is pushing you out of a plane or making you, swim with sharks. Most of our trips are rated light, which is physically light. So please don't see the word adventure and think that it's for 25-year-olds who are trying to go backpacking. What we really emphasize is seeing the world and being immersed and really understanding the destination. We do upgraded from our National Geographic journeys to our marine products. These are all images from hotels that we use all over the globe in our National Geographic journeys products. So you can see they're probably about a 4-star boutique hotel. And that's really as high as we go because, again, we're keeping the money in the destination and always using local. Our average traveler, as you can see, 75% of our travelers are between 40 and 80. Our average traveler is across all of our brands is 48, but on our National Geographic journeys, it's like early 50s, and our marine, it's late 50s. And again, we do a lot of multi-generation families, things like that, couples, single travelers. But it's really not about age. It's not about income. It's not about where you're from. It's about like-minded people wanting to share an authentic experience in, a new place together. We have 100% guaranteed departures. So if you're booked, you're going. I've had one person booked on our Croatian sailing yacht. We have 8-passenger yachts all over the world. And so for $1,100, he got his own free private yacht in Croatia for a week. So it's really great in the shoulder season. We also have no single supplements for those of you who sell cruising. That's a big deal. We don't force anyone to double up or to share. If someone wants to travel alone and pay, the normal price, they will be paired with another single traveler of their same gender if there is one. About a third of the time there isn't, and they'll get their own room. They also have the option to pay for my own room, which on land is usually about 1.3, so about a third or 25% of the total cost. So say a trip is $1,000, it's another $250 to get your own room. So really realistic, but great for single travelers. I started off as a single female traveler with this company, and it was amazing. You really meet people, in your group, and you get this built-in community with your guide and your group. So with your consortia, you are 17% commissionable. So any of our trips you get 17% on. We also encourage our agents to experience our trips. So you get 40% off. All of our agents can get 40% off any of our trips. And a big part of what I do is also private groups. Private groups will do for any size, a family of 4, 6 people. It's really affordable. So private groups is 15% commissionable. So here are all of our travel styles. I just want to review them because we don't divide trips by destination like Caribbean, Africa, Asia, Europe. That's not how we divide them. We divide them by style, because you can stay, an 18-year-old could stay in a hammock in Costa Rica, or a 50-year-old couple might want to do a nice upgraded eco lodge in Costa Rica. So those are really different experiences. Still local, still small groups, still immersion, but you are getting different service levels. So that's really what these are all about. Our National Geographic Journeys is going to be our most upgraded. The National Geographic came to us because they realized that 90% of their readers and social media followers couldn't afford a single trip that they offer. And they have been around for 125 years, offer really uber luxury trips, and they wanted a more accessible option. So that's what National Geographic Journeys is. If you look at our price point, it's really affordable. Like 2 weeks in Nepal for I think our price is $1,800, and we're using 4.5, 5-star, beautiful, locally owned boutique resorts there. So again, I would say between 3.5 to 4.5 star. Some of our trips have 5-star, but it really depends on the country, because it'll be different in Costa Rica and in Canada and in South Africa. So you kind of can't compare all the countries, but I'm also happy to help with that. Local living, it's really eating and drinking in Europe for a week. Most of them are in Italy, where you live like a local. We have one where you stay in Sorrento, where you work, or where you live at a working limoncello farm, and you learn about wines, you do wine tasting, you cure your own meats, you learn about all Italian cuisine. It's really a great style, and it's all about just living like a local. Family, exactly as it sounds, small group adventures with people with children under the age of 12. Classic, this is really the bulk of our trips. We have 914 itineraries, so there's really something for everyone. Our classic style is going to be our most value-driven option. We have our Costa Rica Quest, which is 9 days in Costa Rica for under $1,000. All of our trips, to be clear, don't include every meal. They do a lot of the highlight meals, a lot of breakfasts are included. But again, remember, we're trying to keep the money in the destination. So if we just have you eating at the Intercontinental and the Best Western, which is the way that you can prearrange meals, you're not going to get that local street food or that local amazing, Caribbean chicken dish that you wouldn't get normally if you were with, a large group. So not all meals are included, all accommodations, your guide the whole time, all highlights, all the main activities and destination. But definitely meals is something that we try to encourage you to experience locally. It's A, more affordable, B, more authentic, and C, you don't know if you're going to want a huge lunch, on day 4. So you kind of can dictate that on your own. But your guide is always with you to help and, take you out to lunch and be with you the whole time. YOLO, that's our 18 to 30 something, seeing the world on a budget, under 39 years old. So, going to Africa for 2 months for $1,000, that kind of thing. Rail, iconic railroads. Active, if any of you are familiar with backroads or anything, it's multi-sport, it's hiking, it's trekking, trekking in Nepal, trekking Kilimanjaro, trekking Colombia, Peru. So anything just kind of active, and people who like to get their heart rate up a little bit for trips. And then marine is everything we have on water. We don't do any cruising. It's all small yachts, small river barges, expeditions, things like that. Ooh. All right, so I might skip through our National Geographic just in the interest of time, but I told you a little bit about it. It's really iconic experiences, and you get National Geographic experts sprinkled throughout your experience to educate you on what you're doing on that itinerary. So ways to think of G Adventures. We do traditional destinations, as I mentioned. We do all over Europe. We do all over Italy. We do, we have a river barge in Burgundy. We have, yachts all through the Mediterranean in Croatia, Greece, Montenegro. Of course, do Iceland, all through Central America, the Caribbean, but we do it in an authentic way. It's not, again, 50 people on a tour bus. It's living like a local and learning about the culture there. It's getting off the beaten path and going to obscure wineries where no one might speak English and don't meet a lot of tourists. We really want you to have an authentic experience and not feel like you're, again, being herded around to these traditional destinations with the 60 other tour buses that you see on your trip. So we go to 125 countries in all 7 continents. We truly do it all, but we just are trying to do it in a way that helps support the local economy and that gives you an authentic experience in the local destination with a small group of like-minded travelers. Our safaris, maybe I put this on here because I'm leaving for Africa next week and I'm so excited, but our National Geographic, of course, when you think of National Geographic, you think of the amazing photography in Africa. So if anyone's looking at safari, our price point is unbelievable. And, it's like a $3,000 per person for an upgraded luxury safari experience in Kenya with National Geographic. And the group maxes out at 6 travelers total. So talk about a value. That's, really that's what we offer with G, especially with our National Geographic product. And then just highlights all over the world. If someone wants to see the Taj Mahal, someone wants to see the Blue Lagoon in Iceland, someone wants to see Machu Picchu. Of course, you think about these historic places, and the National Geographic experts really highlight the experience in those regions. As I mentioned, we have over 900 itineraries, but we're not just a tour company. Like I said, we can do private for any amount of person, any group size. The magic number is basically 8 travelers. So you take the price point that we have listed publicly times 8, and that'll be the price for a group of 5, a group of 4, anything under 8. Once you get up to a group of 11, you get a free spot, extra commission, all these extra incentives, but you can take any of our itineraries and offer it to anyone private at a really reasonable price. Like I said, our Costa Rica Quest is under $1,000 per person. So say it's about 1,000 times 8, 8,000 for a private group with their own guide the entire time for 9 days in Costa Rica is not unrealistic for a family of 5. So thinking of it that way, because we do such small group, our private group options, that's about 50% of what I do with my agent partners, is just the flexibility we have in private experiences. So this is one of our river barges, the Amatista and the Amazon. We have 4 river barges. We have the Amazon, we have Burgundy, the Danielle in Burgundy. These are only 22 to 30 passenger. I sell a ton of the Danielle in Burgundy because the Rhine and Danube river, river cruising is so saturated and people want a more authentic meandering European experience, again, opposed to just being herded from port to port to port with the 7 other, ships that are unloading 500 passengers at a time. So all of our things are smaller group, more authentic, more hands-on. The staff to traveler ratio is like 8 to 1. So you really get so much time with your guides and your naturalists and your specialists, in all of our regions. So we also do India, and then we also do the Mekong in Cambodia, Vietnam. We have our expedition ship that cruises up in the Arctic in the summer, does Iceland, Greenland, Scotland, the fjords of Norway, all through Scandinavia, and then in our winter and of course down in their summer, we do Antarctica. Our yachts and charters, this is one of my favorite areas to talk about because it's just such an incredible deal. As I mentioned, our charter prices, because they're 8 passenger, are based on 8. It is starting around $12,000 to have your own private yacht in Greece, Croatia, Montenegro, British Virgin Islands, the Maldives, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Bali, all through Indonesia, Thailand. So because we own and operate all these our own vehicles, we make it really affordable to have your own experience. So again, for a family of 6 or a honeymooner couple to pay $12,000 to have their own private yacht with a guide and of course a captain in the Mediterranean for a week is a really realistic price point for some people. So definitely not just thinking of us of selling into public departures with other travelers, which you can always do, but also having all these experiences totally private at a really reasonable price. And then we have 5 yachts in the Galapagos. They're 16 to 20 passenger, all small, all boutique, from a really accessible, very basic yacht to an upgraded catamaran, and then perfect for every price point. I believe our starting price point is like $1,200 for a week in the Galapagos in our very basic yacht. So again, the Galapagos is extremely expensive. So that we also have land Galapagos, which is even cheaper than that. So really offering great deals there. So these are our top destinations, kind of where to think of us and where we really shine. We started in Peru. We have a trip that leaves every day of the year in Peru. We have 70 itineraries in that country alone. So if anyone ever mentions Peru or Machu Picchu to you, definitely think of us. Costa Rica, we do so much Costa Rica, surf Costa Rica, hike Costa Rica, National Geographic Costa Rica, family Costa Rica. So really everything you can imagine in there. South Africa is our #1 safari destination with National Geographic as well, but obviously a very interesting cultural place too. Morocco, so Northern Africa, interestingly, is very, very popular with us. Morocco is actually our #1 destination for Americans. I just got back leading 12 agents there, and we had a really nice time. Iceland, by the end of this year, we'll have a departure every day of the year in Iceland. So we have tons of product there, from Nat Geo to winter Northern Lights to trekking in the summer, really everything. The Galapagos, as I mentioned, we have land and our small yachts. Thailand, all of Southeast Asia as a whole, we send like I think 500,000 travelers through Southeast Asia a year. So Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, that whole area. We do a ton of India. I do quite a bit of Japan, being on the West Coast. It's very hot, at least lately. So multiple Japan winter and summer. And then I sell quite a bit of Antarctica. But personally, this is kind of a list just for our American travelers. Personally, for me, I do a lot of Greece, Croatia. I do a lot of like homeland, like going to Israel and Jordan. And I book quite a few safaris as well. So, are there any questions?
Let me go ahead and unmute everyone so that everybody can ask.
No more. You got put.
All right, everyone's unmuted. No? Sometimes we don't get questions, but that's very informational. Thank you so much.
Megan, can we get your email address so if we have any other questions later on, we can contact you? Hello?
Megan? I don't know if she could hear us. Megan? Megan? I'll send it to you, Dawn. I don't know what happened. Maybe we lost connection.
Okay, that's
But
fine.
I'll send it over to you guys. I do have you guys' emails for those that were on the webinar, so I'll send you her information, and then she'll get you registered onto the Sherpa application website that you guys need to use for booking. So I'll send that over to you guys, okay?
There we go. Sorry.
Oh, there you
I was
are.
like, I heard everything you were saying, and I was completely muted. I hit the button 100 times, and it just wouldn't. very
It
peculiar.
happens. It happens to me all the time.
I was like, am I losing my mind? What's going on here? Okay, so should I write it in the chat or in the question area?
Yeah,
Or
write it in a chat
I
so
think I
everybody
did.
can see
Can
it.
you see where I
Let's
put
see.
I'm muted?
Oh, there it is. If you guys open up the chat, you guys can see.
Okay, because I wrote I'm muted in there, right? You can see that.
Yeah, I saw that. You're like, I muted myself.
I was like, what is going on? Okay, so I'm putting my contact info in there. Yeah, you can send me everyone's info so I can get them registered on Sherpa. Did you get your
Yeah.
Sherpa login email from me, Maggie?
No, I didn't actually.
That is so weird.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look again with that. So yeah. Anyone feel free to, I'll sign everyone up for Sherpa, but please
Definitely.
feel free to use me as a resource. There's a lot of information here, so if you need any help or have any questions, just let me know and I can walk you through everything.
Perfect.
Alrighty. Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. We'll definitely invite you on another time and make
Okay.
sure that we get more of our agents excited to start booking with you guys.
Okay.
Well, the session was recorded, so it'll be posted. So have a great weekend. And then for those of you that are on the webinar, just note that she will be actually attending our Bermuda cruise event. So
Good.
that's awesome.
Yay. I heard it's a good time. Don't let me down.
It is. All right. Well, thank you so much,
Okay.
Megan.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good
All
evening.
Thanks,
right.
Megan.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.